this guy Vance definitely has something going on. He visited the Vatican earlier and saw off the legendary Pope. Right after he landed in India, a conflict broke out in Kashmir. 25 Indians were killed in the terrorist attack, which made Modi very angry. Successively introduced 7 hostile measures against Pakistan. He also cut off the water supply to Pakistan. This is an issue that concerns the survival of more than 200 million people in Pakistan. If the water supply is completely cut off, it would be equivalent to directly declaring war. The terrorist attack incident in Kashmir is not the first occurrence, and this one is not the most severe either. Why has India reacted so strongly? What on earth does Modi want to do? The timing of this terrorist attack incident is rather suspicious. The US Vice President Vance arrived in India with his family and launched a 4-day visit. And it was then that a terrorist attack incident occurred in the Indian-administered Kashmir region. Subsequently, without conducting any investigation, the Indian side immediately claimed that Pakistan had supported this attack and promptly took a series of actions. Next, there were small-scale exchanges of fire between the two sides near the line of control in Kashmir. Both countries also began to deploy more troops to the border areas, and a major war seemed to be on the verge of breaking out. Obviously, the development of the situation is somewhat unexpected, and India's reaction is also unusual. Everything seems to have been premeditated. Then, if we consider the current international situation and combine it with a series of India's recent statements and trends, perhaps we can catch a glimpse of what Modi has in mind. On April 7, Indian Minister of Commerce Piyush Goyal stated at a forum in Mumbai that amidst the global turmoil triggered by the US tariff war, he saw a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As we all know, India has always believed that it is one of the top 3 world powers in terms of strength, and it is also the world's fastest-growing large economy. However, its international status does not match its strength. They believe that India deserves a seat among the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council and have applied for the status of a permanent member several times. And now, there is undoubtedly a window of opportunity to achieve great things. In Goyal's remarks, he also emphasized the viewpoints of the West. He claimed that it was precisely China's accession to the World Trade Organization that led to the current global economic turmoil. Regard the China as the fuse of the current trade war. And India should make use of the constantly changing supply chains and the growing export markets to strengthen its position in global trade. As India's Minister of Commerce, Goyal's remarks, to a certain extent, represent the attitude of the Indian government. That is to say, Modi wants to be the fisherman who benefits when China and the United States engage in a rivalry like the snipe and the clam. Regarding the intentions of the Indians, the renowned American economist Jeffrey Sachs directly issued a warning, stating that India should not fall into the trap set by the United States to contain China. However, an Indian host said that perhaps they also want to contain China. With just one sentence, India's ambition was laid bare. And this conflict is exactly the way for India to seize the opportunity. According to India's plan, if it wants to reshape its position in global trade, the first thing it needs to do is to establish good relations with the United States. As the trade conflict between China and the United States intensifies, the trade exchanges between the two countries have currently been suspended. However, the demand in the U.S. consumer market will not stop. As long as the United States is willing to invest in India and move industrial chains such as semiconductor, mechanical and electrical, and rare earth processing to India, making India a substitute for China, then India is willing to cooperate with the United States in its actions to contain China. In this round of the tariff war, the original intention of the United States was to carry out extreme pressure by virtue of its powerful buyer's market. However, China simply didn't fall for this approach. This is because China's trade system is diversified, and the Belt and Road Initiative is a key part of it. If India wants to contain China, the best way for it is to cause disruptions. Disrupt China's strategic layout. In the Belt and Road Initiative, Pakistan is a very crucial part. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the Gwadar Port, and so on are all model projects and flagship programs, which possess special significance. However, in the eyes of both the United States and India, it apparently doesn't seem so promising. Therefore, Vance's response this time is tantamount to hitting it off immediately, because the two sides have reached a consensus on interests. Moreover, the United States and India also want to take this opportunity to achieve multiple objectives. First of all, while disrupting China's strategic layout, they can also strike at their old rival, Pakistan. After all, there are a lot of contradictions between India and Pakistan, and the issue of the ownership of Kashmir is the biggest intractable problem between the two countries. For India, if it completely controls Kashmir, then its influence in Asia will be further enhanced. To the north, it can connect with Afghanistan and then communicate with Central Asia. To the east, it can pose a threat to China. And to the west, India can definitely look down from a dominant position upon the deep interior of Pakistan. It can also cut off the connection between China and Pakistan and completely block the way out for Pakistan. So an incident occurred in Kashmir. And India quickly used water resources as a weapon to exert extreme pressure on Pakistan. With the water supply cut off, it will affect the livelihood of the people in Pakistan. Both agricultural production and economic development will be damaged. It may even trigger unrest and riots. And terrorist organizations in the Balochistan region can take the opportunity to carry out sabotage activities. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and the Gwadar port are located in Balochistan. Pakistan is obviously in a passive situation at present. Secondly, the United States has been targeting Iran and has repeatedly stated that it wants to cut off Iran's economic lifeline, that is, the oil trade. And the shipping lanes in the Persian Gulf are the key. As long as this area is blockaded, Iran's oil exports will be severely hit. If a war breaks out between India and Pakistan, the aircraft carriers of the Indian Navy will definitely be deployed at the exit of the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman to intimidate the southern cities of Pakistan. The United States can then take the opportunity to send its aircraft carrier fleet to this position to support India. At that time, it will be very difficult for Iranian cruise ships to pass through the war zone easily. In this way, the goal of blockading the Persian Gulf can be achieved. Naturally, it will be possible to force Iran to yield and make concessions. And it can also serve as a deterrent to Pakistan incidentally. So how can Pakistan break this situation? If it takes the initiative to start a war with India, it is very likely to fall into a trap and also give India a handle. Therefore, it can only focus on doing a good job in defense and wait for India to make the first move and escalate the conflict. Then Pakistan can take advantage of its air force superiority to deal a heavy blow to the Indian army. In the naval battles, it can rely on the advanced anti-ship missiles from China to counter the aircraft carriers of the Indian army. If the Indian side doesn't take the initiative, then the best way for Pakistan is to launch anti-terrorism operations, and these operations must be carried out simultaneously in the Kashmir region in the north and the Balochistan region in the south.